so bad, I wanna shoot like hoops while I'm riding in the coupe. I got what you want, it ain't nothing but a loop. Don't listen to friends, they don't know what's best for you. I want you, shoot like hoops while I'm riding in the coupe. I got what you.
What is up, guys? Welcome back to the podcast. This is the Sports Key Podcast, episode 5. Same faces, new places. I'm joined by
Jackson Gamber.
So last week we had more difficulties. We don't like when it happens, but sometimes we can't really do anything about it. So just a quick recap of last week. The Nuggets jumped out to a 3-1 series lead in the NBA Finals. Game 7 is tonight at 8:30. And then in the NHL, the Golden Knights take a 3-1 series lead. It's weird throughout the playoffs so far with those two happening at the same time. Feels like every series is kind of taking the same route. Mm-hmm. Other than that, last week we made some predictions on the transfer market. Some came true.
Yeah.
Some we were completely wrong about.
Yes.
But we're going to cover all of that today because some of that was very big. Mm-hmm. So I think we're going to jump into the transfer market first.
Yep.
Because of how exciting it is. And I think the first one we all want to talk about is the Messi signing to Inter Miami. Last week, me and Jack talked about where we think Messi should go. We talked about where we thought he would go. But one thing I do want to talk about is a quote from Ronaldo. He basically said that step by step, the Saudi League will become a top 5 league, top 7 league in the world. You said that you didn't think it would happen quite so quick compared to what he's saying. Now, there was a lot of signings from some of the top leagues to the Saudi League so far this transfer market. Only been only like a week or so into it.
Yeah.
What do you think of the signings that to the Saudi League? Do you think that they've making any progress becoming a better league, or what do you think about that?
So, the two signings that we know is Karim Benzema went to Etihad, or however you say it, and so did N'Golo Kante. So now N'Golo Kante and Benzema are teammates, and I think it doesn't really change the league as much as it just changes the competition. I think for the league to change, it has to change as a whole, and just different things need to start happening. Like, I feel like you have to gain respect. And there's no real Saudi Arabian teams who are like, oh wow, they're good. Oh wow, they could really play, or like, you get what I'm saying? Like, there's not real competition.
Yeah, if any of those teams played a team in the Premier League, Bundesliga, or any of those leagues, we all know what would most likely happen.
Exactly.
The reason I wanted to bring up that so early into this is because of what you said last week. You also said that if Messi came to the MLS, which you didn't think he would, just because of how many times they've speculated it, you said that if Messi did come to the MLS, that the league wouldn't be any better. It would just sound better because of the name Messi. Do you still stand by that point, or do you think it just now that he's come, do you think that the league is better?
I don't think it's the league that is better. I think it just gives more exposure, and it gives more maybe a chance to get better, because now that they have someone like Messi here, they're going to bring a different type of audience to the team, or to the league, and have different faces watching the league, and it's just a good thing to get like a big signing like that. For example, like when they had Zlatan Ibrahimovic come to the MLS, it was amazing, and Zlatan came to the MLS and just completely dominated, and that's exactly what I see from Messi coming this July.
Now, since Messi won't be able to play till July, do you think that he's going to be able to help Inter Miami climb the leaderboard at all? They're sitting last in the Eastern Conference. Do you think they'll be able to climb the table at all, or do you think that with how far into the season it will be, do you think they're kind of just going to stay at the bottom for this year and then maybe make progress next year?
I would hope Messi would make an impact, yes. But maybe they'll climb, but I don't think it's going to be like
enough to push them to the playoffs.
Yeah,
right.
Because it's just solely based on how they've started this season, and they're not really doing too well. So I don't definitely can't see them pushing a playoff.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And the thing of him coming and bringing a new audience reminds me of what you and I were saying about the Ronaldo thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's the name. He brings attention to the league now. I didn't even know the Saudi and Arabian League existed until he signed there, truthfully. Like I didn't know any of the teams, any of the players there, and now slowly I know a couple more players that are there. And that also reminds me of what we said about celebrity boxing. It just brings a new audience, which can help grow the league as a whole. So I think it's good for the league, but it doesn't make the league as a whole better quite yet. Mm-hmm. But I do want to tell you, Jack, although Messi won't be playing till July, I may have gotten us tickets to the Philadelphia Union game, and he may be at the match, so we might be able to see him.
That would be crazy. Like, I know maybe he might be in Philly. Like,
well,
there's a good chance that he goes to the games.
He did say that he's going to travel with the team because he's allowed to train with the team. Mm-hmm. He's allowed to be at the games with the team. He's just not allowed to play yet. Yeah. And he announced that he intends on going to every game with the team, home and on the road, until he's able to play. So even though he's not going to be able to play, I think it's going to be really exciting for us to just go and even see him run sprints on the sidelines. So I just wanted to tell you that now. Get you a little excited now. Moving on, were there any other big signings in the MLS or any of the other not so high leagues?
Well, I have a huge signing here, and it is Mr. Jude Bellingham. Went to Real Madrid, and Jude Bellingham has just all the potential in the world. He's 21 years old. He's young, and he's just so good, and he's a great midfielder, and I can definitely see him being like future captain of England. He's just so high class, and it's just such a great signing for Real Madrid.
Yeah, would they have to sign him for? What was his price? Do you remember?
Let me look real quick. 120 million.
Yeah, that's a little bit of money.
Yeah, but I feel like it's definitely deserved for a player like him, just solely based off of how good he is and just huge things he's done for Dortmund. Obviously, they didn't win the title this year in the Bundesliga, but he's still a great player and he does really great internationally, and he's just one of those
top players, yeah. And then in the Premier League, there were some big signings already.
So far we have two semi-decent ones. We have, first, Yuri Tielemans went from just recently relegated Leicester to Aston Villa on a free transfer, which I personally love that for Yuri Tielemans. I think he would fit into the Aston Villa just style of play perfectly. I can 100% see him right there next to like Douglas Luiz in the midfield, and he's just a great fit for there, and I feel like they should definitely start him and not push him as a rotation player, because he's just one of those players that you need, and he's a solid center mid, and I think he'll do really good things there, and especially to get him on a free transfer, and his price is like $30 million.
Yeah, so I think that he's definitely become a starter. I could see them starting him at the beginning of the season as more of a rotation, but I think he is gonna, become a full-time starter for them. And I think that not only is it a great signing for him, but for Aston Villa, they went out and got a player who can really help them build off of what they were having last year, which you and I talked about in the first episode, just how great, it might have been the second episode, just how great, they started playing from going near the bottom of the table to pushing themselves mid-table, almost upper table.
And to now, they qualified for a Conference League.
Yeah, so with just how much they built last season, I think he's a great signing that's going to help them build for the future 100%. And maybe push them into the Europa League and maybe even the Champions League in the next couple of years.
Next signing is the one that I mentioned in the episode that got deleted. I said that Alexis McAllister should 100% go to Liverpool, and it was found out that he did for only $35 million, which is crazy because Alexis McAllister just won the World Cup with Argentina. He's a great player, just finally getting the respect he deserves after winning the World Cup and just showing why he just deserves better. Obviously, Brighton is a good side, but I feel like a higher class team for him is a better move.
For sure.
So he went to Liverpool for only $35 million, that's a steal for him. I could have definitely seen him going for like $70 million or $80 million, something like that.
But with how much Liverpool already has under contract, they're only willing to pay so much,
I don't think it was that. I think it was something different. Like, let me pull it up real quick.
I'm just thinking with them paying Salah so much, I don't know how much David De Gea makes. He plays for Man United.
Yeah.
Sorry. I don't know how much their goalie makes, but I know they have some really top... Yeah, Allison. I always mix them up.
So basically...
They look similar.
Just the beard. Basically, they just paid the release clause.
Okay.
So the release clause was only $35 million. And which, like I said, I guess it was at the time where he wasn't really that good. And, you can't go back and change contracts, so...
And bringing up the release clause makes me think of something that you and I just talked about not even 10 minutes ago, right before we started recording. Saka.
Yeah, so Bukayo Saka, he was going to sign a 6-year deal for Arsenal, and he ended up signing a 4-year deal with Arsenal till 2028. Well, 5 years, whatever you want to say.
4 seasons.
Yeah. And he didn't sign the 6-year deal because his manager didn't really want he wanted a release clause in Bukayo Saka's contract, but Arsenal refused. They went back and forth, and now Bukayo Saka only signed a
4-year deal.
Yeah, so I don't think that really affects anything with Bukayo Saka. I think he still has great intentions with the club, Arsenal, and I just don't see him leaving anytime soon.
Yeah, I think that I definitely understand why his agent would want a release clause in there. But obviously with how good he's been for Arsenal, they obviously didn't want to put one in there. So you sign him for 4 years for now, and then in 4 years, if he's still playing like a top-tier player, you can always add more years onto it. Or even after this season, you can always renegotiate the contract. Mm-hmm. But I think that the signing for Arsenal, making sure to retain him, is a good thing because he's just such a top-tier talent.
Exactly.
Internationally, he plays so well.
Yeah.
And for the club, he's one of the biggest pieces, if not the biggest piece to that team, I think.
Yeah. That and Martin Odegaard.
Now, Arsenal also re-signed Saliba, correct? Saliba?
Yeah.
So, did they make any other signings or re-sign any other players at the moment?
So they also re-signed Reece Nelson, who we took into consideration, so Reece Nelson hasn't been playing really at all, and this season he just came on as a sub for one of these games. It was against Bournemouth.
He scored the game winner.
And he had an assist and the game winner, and he just instantly showed an impact and improved just the team dynamic just so much, even when we were losing. And he just put on just one of his top-tier performances as a substitute. And I think 100% we really should have signed him. He was so good.
Right.
And he kept coming on and he kept making impacts. And I think that Reece Nelson is definitely a piece that we should keep at Arsenal. If he's looking for first-team football, then maybe he should go to a lower side maybe Newcastle or a Aston Villa, like we were just saying. I think he would definitely fit into that sort of team.
I do like him on Arsenal, though.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that his style of play is perfect for Arsenal coming on as a reserve. You see so many teams fall behind and kind of just put their heads down and go throughout the rest of the game acting as if they already lost, where he comes on, and even if he doesn't always have that assist and doesn't always score that game winner, he comes on and he gives 100% effort the entire time he's on the field. So I think that having him as a reserve coming off for Arsenal is something huge for the team, and it shows how much he cares about the game. So I think that Arsenal should do everything in their power to make sure he's a part of the team for a long time.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, he's been there for a while, and I think he was, like, starting in the COVID season. But I think that was the last time that I remember him actually, like, playing a good amount. But he played a decent amount this season, and he played really well. I think he had more goals than, like, Jadon Sancho and, like, all these other, like, top players that were supposed to be, like, really good.
Yeah, I think that... But
after playing, like, 3 games.
With those players, it's sometimes, like, it's just so weird. I was talking to my friend at work. He's a Tottenham fan.
Yeah.
And I was like, what happened to Son this year?
Exactly.
And, like, I don't think Son's any worse of a player as he was a couple seasons ago. Sometimes you just can't put the ball in the back of the net, you know? So... maybe they just had one off year. I hope to see those players rebound because
I don't.
It's nice to see nice to see them play well. I guess for me, I'm not
for you.
I'm not as strong of a fan. I just I enjoy seeing.
Nah, everything with Tottenham sucks. They just got a new manager from Australia, and I can't even pronounce his name.
I think you and I talked about that.
Yeah. He's not. I feel like it's kind of like a Ted Lasso situation, I guess you could say, but not like he's not like a coach.
He was a rugby coach?
No, he's not like a coach of a different sport. He's just like someone who I feel like I've never heard of, and
just
maybe I'm wrong. Maybe other people have heard of him, but I've never heard of this guy.
I'm sure he was probably one of the
like lower league soccer.
Yeah, I'm sure he was probably like one of the highest coaches in that league or wherever he was.
I wouldn't have a clue.
Oh, dude, speaking of Ted Lasso, I know that this is a sports podcast, so I'm going to count this. I want to say we could talk about it. Major spoilers here. Dude, that ending
Wait.
isn't good enough for me.
Hold on. Just throw that spoiler warning one more time.
Spoiler warning.
Like, if you don't want to be spoiled,
yeah, if you're in the middle of watching the show, skip. We'll put up here when you can start watching again. Just skip to that point because... dude, that show really messed me up for a couple of days after watching the end. What did you think of the end? Do you think that they should have done it different, or are you happy with the way it ended?
I didn't like the way it physically ended because it just the way like Ted looked at the end, I feel like just something wasn't certain. I think I would like to see like maybe like a more sentimental clip. Or something,
but
because it kind of just zoomed in on his face and he kind of was just sitting there. But I like the way it ended with the "be a goldfish" quote that he told his son.
Yeah, I like how it ended though because every season, I don't know if you've noticed this, but season 1 it opened up with a zoom in on a player's face.
I didn't realize that.
And then it ended on the same player's face zoomed in. Season 2 opened with Rebecca's face zoomed in and ended with her face zoomed in.
No, season 2 ended with Nate.
Okay, yeah. Season 1 was Rebecca, then it was Nate, and then this year it was Ted.
Yes, you're so
and
right.
I also like
zoomed in on her face when she's sitting there in the office.
And
wow.
I like how it was.
I never thought about that.
Yeah, I saw that on TikTok the other day. I was like, wow.
Season 3 started
with him at the airport.
Yeah,
and
wow.
You could see how different his face was at the beginning of the season. He was very upset because his son was leaving, and at the end he was happy because he was with his son. I also like the way it ended the same as the series started. In the airport. Mm-hmm. Are we doing the right thing? Is this crazy?
Yeah.
And
the season started.
Yeah. So I think that it was just. I think it was the right way to end the show. But it hurts. Time. It hurts.
Right way to end the show, but the wrong time.
Yeah, I think
that
I want them to make another season of Ted Lasso, but
at least do a spin-off.
They're planning on it, I think. The way they set it up well for if they're going to.
Yeah, because obviously Roy Kent's the new manager with Beard assistant manager, and you also have Nate there.
Now, do you think that all right, this is from more of a realistic point of view now. Do you think that they should have made Nathan Shelley the manager of the club? Because he was the manager at West Ham in the show, and he was doing great things with them.
I think he belongs at Kitman. I think he showed that maybe that job was just getting to his head too much, and I feel like I just don't think he should be the boss.
So we also saw Roy Kent going to therapy because they brought Dr. Sharon back. I think that they're definitely going to try to make a spinoff of the show. I hope they do.
I hope it's more centered around Roy.
Yeah, because he's such an interesting character.
Exactly.
And he finally joined the Diamond Dogs last episode.
Exactly.
Just a lot of really sentimental stuff that could push us into the future. And I think if they make a spinoff, I think they will talk about Ted and maybe even bring Ted in for an episode or two.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe like a FaceTime.
But I think Jason Sudeikis was kind of ready to end that role for himself. But I think it went well for him. You know, he's back with his son. One thing I said that I thought they thought they could do was have Ted become the U.S. men's national coach for the World Cup.
It's such a stretch.
It's a really far stretch, but I think it'd be a really cool one season thing of him being the U.S. men's coach. You know, he's an American. He went home back to America.
No.
You saw Sam get to play for the Nigerian team. They were talking about
that made a lot of people happy.
Yeah,
like that.
But they didn't really touch up on that at all, which confused me. But I'm happy for him. Even though it's just a show, I'm happy for him.
And Jamie got back and started talking to his dad.
Yeah. So I think if they end the show and don't do a spinoff, I think they did it in a good way to close out some of these stories. But they also left them open enough where they could
and I feel like
bring it back.
I feel like the people that they left open are the people they're going to make... Like, it's clear that they're going to make a spinoff for. Like, Beard... I guess they kind of closed it with his wedding with Jane.
Right, but we do know he's still part of the team as the assistant coach.
Nate, we just saw him having dinner with his family and girlfriend.
Yeah, but I think that's a big part.
But he's also a coach. But Roy, they left this huge absence.
Just him going into the therapy room.
Yeah, him going into the therapy room, him becoming the manager. These are big things that they could easily lead into, make a spinoff show. And
I'm not sure if you noticed this.
Brett Goldstein is a great actor, and I feel like...
And a great writer. He's one of the writers that shows with Coach Beard.
He would just do so good with that, and I would love to see that.
Now, I'm not sure if you noticed this. In that scene that Roy became the manager... He put something up on the wall. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Yes.
The drawing. It was the drawing that his niece did. Yeah.
Yeah, Phoebe
and
did.
then it was the kind of a thing to Ted of putting the tape over.
Yeah.
Because he did that in episode 1.
Yeah.
So I thought that was cool. They really did find a way to
just
bring us back.
Make things full circle.
Yeah, it was. I think they did a great job at ending Ted's story and leaving it open for Richmond's story. But that's enough of talking about Ted Lasso. Let's get back into reality. Is there any other transfer news that you want to talk about?
No. Actually, there's two more things that I want to talk about with soccer. And that is Mbappe. So, Mbappe reportedly informed PSG about his decision of not triggering the option to extend his contract till 2025. Now, 2025 is a good ways from where we're at, but that's only 2 seasons.
Right.
So that means that he possibly doesn't want to stay for 2 seasons, it just means he doesn't want to stay for 2 seasons, maybe not right now.
Yeah, he's saying that he's not going to pull the trigger on that now, but at the end of next year, he could always decide, you know what, I do want to stay with this club. I think that's honestly really respectful of him for letting them know, because now they can start looking for a way to maybe send him to a different club, just give them more options, and it also allows him to look into his future a little bit more.
Yeah. Now, what do you think will happen? They will extend his contract, or do you think they will sell him off to somewhere? If they're going to sell him, where to?
I think that really depends on what happens over the next couple of weeks with the transfer market. If PSG loses any more players that are part of that core, they lost Messi. They don't know about...
It's really looking questionable for Neymar.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's looking questionable for Neymar. At this point, they don't know what Mbappe's plans are. But if they were to lose anyone else on that team, then I think that they're going to consider moving him so that they can have a little bit more money to go spend and get other pieces to kind of try to fill that void. But I think that if they're able to retain players like Neymar, then they'll try to extend him just to hold him in for a little bit longer. Because if they have Neymar and Mbappe, there's no doubt in my mind that they'll still win the league by far.
And they just signed Marco Asensio, and I know that he's not anywhere close to them, but he's still a good player, and he can definitely do good things for PSG.
Yeah. So, and then you said there's one more thing you want to talk about?
Yeah, so I want to go over the official stats of Haaland now that everything is over. So.
Oh, yeah, we didn't even mention that they officially...
Man City won the Champions League.
Yeah, and the FA Cup.
Yeah.
And the Premier League Cup.
Yeah.
How's that make you feel?
Shut up. So, Haaland's official stats, he had 53 appearances, 52 goals, 9 assists provided.
Wow.
He was a Champions League winner, the Champions League Golden Boot winner. You know what that means, right?
Yeah.
Premier League winner, Premier League Golden Boot winner, 4 Premier League goal-scoring records broken, FA Cup winner, Premier League Player of the Season, Premier League Young Player of the Season, FWA Footballer of the Year award, and he completed the treble, which means, he won all 3 trophies
what does
in
the
one season.
FWA something award mean?
I'm not 100% sure, but I know it's
something with FIFA.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's what the F is. FIFA.
Yeah.
Winners.
Yeah. FIFA Winner Association or something.
Yeah, that might be the greatest stat line of an entire season for a player ever.
Yeah.
Does the 9 assists? I know he's a striker. Does the only having 9 assists and 53 appearances say anything, or since he had 52 goals, does it kind of just like whatever?
Obviously, as a striker, it's not really your job.
Yeah.
To assist people. You're the target man, and the way Haaland is, like his physicality and the way he plays, he's more of like a target man, and he's not really like he makes runs off the ball, and you just connect and you find him. Shoots.
Yeah.
And so he's not really like a 1-2 striker, come back, check to the ball like someone like Gabriel Jesus. So, I feel like that doesn't really affect anything. I feel like 9 assists is definitely respectable, but just compared to the goals, it sounds like such a big difference. It just sounds like a big difference, but I feel like it's definitely respectable.
All right, so now I think we're going to jump into the NBA, go a little more in depth. We mentioned how the Nuggets are up 3-1. Mm-hmm. You said that you thought that they would lose both in Denver, and then they would go back to Miami and put a little win streak together. They lost both in Miami and won 1 on the road. Now they're back for Game 5 in Denver. Do you see any way that the Heat can come back from 3-1, or do you think the Nuggets close it out in 5, 6, or 7?
I think that Miami are going to... So this is what I want to happen. I want Miami to just win the whole thing.
They're probably not going to.
But I see Miami maybe getting a win tonight, and then Denver closing it out on Wednesday, right?
I think it'd be Thursday.
Thursday? So...
It'd be very tough. If they're going to lose the series, I think it's either going to be in Game 5 tonight or it'll be in Game 7. Because I just can't really see them losing 3 games at home. Because Game 5 in Denver, they would go back to Miami for a Game 6 and then finish the series and in 7, in Denver. So I think they either lose tonight or they lose in 7. I don't see them coming back. But I could see, if they win tonight, I think that they're going to force a Game 7. If they lose tonight, obviously it's over.
Yeah.
So, I don't see any way that Denver lose this series. But we were talking about the name for the episode, Same Faces, New Places, because of the transfer market specifically. But also, this is Denver's first appearance in the finals, so this is a new place for them to be in. Is it shocking you that for a team being their first time in the finals, they're playing this well? Or do you think that players like Jokic, Jamal Murray, and Aaron Gordon are kind of built for this moment, and the team itself is built for this?
So, I think let's be honest, like, Jokic has been insane so far. Like,
Oh, yeah.
It's actually crazy watching him play. Like, it's not normal, like, the type of stuff that he's doing right now. I think Jokic is definitely made for it, and I think his presence makes the other...
So you think he's
like,
one of the players that makes the rest of the team better and not just makes himself look good?
I think he makes the rest of the team better, yeah. But I obviously still give credit to Aaron Gordon, but, I mean, he went 0-3 for threes. But...
Who cares? When you're winning...
And Jamal
It doesn't
Murray,
matter.
like, Jamal Murray's, he's pretty good. He put up, like, the same, if not, like, a very similar stat line as Jokic in the last game.
Yeah, Jamal Murray is an absolute dog.
Mm-hmm.
Coming back off the ACL injury from a couple years ago, we didn't know how he'd play, but he came back into the lineup and he didn't skip a beat. You know, he had a couple of games where he was a little bit off, but throughout this playoff run, he's been they've been probably the most deadly duo in the league all year, and in the playoffs they just elevated to a completely different level. So, as much as I want the Heat to win, I think that there's no doubt in my mind that the Nuggets will win it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll just be looking to the off season in a couple of days, I think.
Yep.
So, some other things that I want to talk about with the same faces, new places. Not just is this Messi's first time playing in the MLS. This is his first time playing in the United States. How the prices of tickets went from like $30 to go to a normal MLS game to over $300.
Yeah.
Are you surprised at all by that, or are you kind of like are you kind of think that it's normal for that to happen because of the player he is, and how many people want to see him play in this place for the first time?
I think that's very normal. Like, Messi, he's literally in my opinion, like, he is the greatest player of all time. Like, above Pele, above R9, above Ronaldo. Like, he is the best player of all time. And in my opinion, it doesn't even come close.
Yeah, I think the only thing that's weird to me is football is the only sport where something like this would happen. Like, other than that, the United States is the top league for baseball, for basketball, for football, and for hockey. Like, these are players that, like, if there was only one soccer league and it was in the United States, Messi would obviously be here.
Mm-hmm.
Where, like, Mike Trout, he'll come to town, and the prices for a Phillies game are still $45. LeBron comes to town, tickets are for the Sixers game are maybe $75, $80. All these great players come, and we're so used to seeing them because this is the best league that they're already here. Where he's coming from a completely different continent for the first time. It's like it's just this is the only sport that something like that would happen. Other than that, everybody's already here, so it's just a little weird for me to think about him never playing here before. But I'm really excited to see it.
Exactly.
But I don't know. It's just weird for me, but in a good way.
I think so. Watching Messi come to the MLS, it's like a huge thing. So people are going to get excited. People are going to get just see it as more of a attention grabber, money grabber. So they're going to try and do whatever they can to advertise said thing, and just it'll pull in just different types of people to the MLS who have never even watched a single MLS game in their life.
Now, you and me at least, I look at tickets to the Union game because it's only 45 minutes away from us. I check them every week to see if there's a game that I want to go to specifically.
Yeah.
Now, the tickets, like I said, for the tickets for the Inter Miami game, they were like $27, $30 about, and then Messi signs, and they go up to like almost $300. I think the cheapest one's like $250 right now.
Yeah. Which is ridiculous because he's not even playing yet.
And the next game, it drops back down to that like $30 range. Do you think that every game that Messi plays in for the rest of his career in the MLS, tickets will be that expensive? Or do you think it's really only going to be the first couple times he comes around to Philadelphia, to New York, and then eventually it's going to go back down to where it normally sits? Or do you think for a player like Messi, it's always going to be that high?
I think it's going to be high for a good amount of time, but I don't see it staying there forever, because if he becomes a regular in the MLS, then people aren't gonna still be like, oh, Messi, like this is just a whole new thing.
Yeah.
And people don't know how to react, like I said, so they're just going to,
You think it's just more because it's a
see
new
an opportunity in the.
You think it's just because it's a new face to the MLS?
Yeah.
People are excited right now, and then after a few years, it'll calm down.
Ooh.
Okay. So, in the NHL, the Golden Knights are out in a 3-1 series lead as well. I said that I thought the Panthers were going to win the series. Doesn't look like it.
Dead wrong.
But there's still a chance.
Yeah.
In hockey, there have been the most 3-0 and 3-1 comebacks than any other sport. So I'm holding out hope that my prediction wasn't completely wrong. At the end of the day, it won't affect me too much because I'm not
we don't really
a super big hockey fan.
NHL.
But I'm still hoping I'm right because I just don't like being wrong.
Yeah. We know.
Yeah. I get very upset when I'm wrong very quickly. It's a problem. But yeah, this series just went a completely different way than I thought it would, and they've been like kind of blowout games. Like I know it's a 4-1 game, but it just like from the start, it's like they have no chance. There was a game that was like 6 goals scored in the game for a team. It's just like you're not used to seeing that, especially in the finals. You think the defense would be better than throughout the entire regular season.
Yeah.
And it looks like the Panthers just don't know how to play hockey at all. It looks like they're skating for the first time. Do you think it's because they haven't ever been there before or haven't been there recently that the nerves kind of got the better of them? Or do you think that they've just been unfortunate to play the way they are?
I want to lean more towards unfortunate because you look at a team, I know it's not the same sport, but if you look at the team like the Nuggets, they haven't been in a final in...
Ever,
yeah. So they've never been in a final ever, and you're thinking like, oh, they're not going to know what to do, that this is too much pressure for them, and they go and, they're now 3-1, and they could literally win the final tonight.
Right.
So I feel like it all depends just on each individual player's presence, I guess you could say, and how they just cope and react to each individual things of when it comes to playing in a final.
Yeah, I agree. I think that they've definitely been a little bit unfortunate. I think maybe the first game of the series, the nerves might get the better of you, or maybe even the first period.
Mm-hmm.
But you should be able to check in mentally by the start of the second period of Game 1. And I think that they've been very unfortunate. They've had a couple of injuries, which have really derailed the team a little bit throughout the playoffs. But I feel like they have to play better than they have been. And it's really unfortunate to see, just because even though we're not big fans of the sport, we still want to see good games when I watch. I want to see good games when I watch them, at least. So it's just been a little bit discouraging to see that.
Mm-hmm.
So now I want to jump into the NFL again.
Yeah.
I know we haven't talked about that. Have we talked about that at all in the podcast?
Yeah.
Maybe once, only for a few minutes. The preseason and the regular season schedules were announced. Now, what is your prediction going into the season for the Eagles? We have to play the Giants twice, the Commanders twice, and the Cowboys twice. We have to play the 49ers and the Chiefs. So that's half of our schedule right there. Divisional games, even if they're not the best teams like the Commanders, they're always tough to win just because it's a divisional matchup.
Mm.
And then you have the 49ers, the Chiefs. We're going to play the Rams again, the Seahawks. What's your prediction for that, for the Eagles this year, going out and getting guys like Jordan Davis and signing DeAndre Swift at running back?
I can definitely see good things from the Eagles. I said in a later episode that like all these Philly teams are going to finals and then they're losing, and but I can really see this as a learning curve for the
Eagles.
The Eagles. I can really see this as a learning curve for the Eagles because, like, Jalen Hurts just isn't that type of player to just put his head down and just automatically think, like, oh, this sucks, like, boo-hoo. Like, he knows that he messed up, and he knows that, the team messed up. And I feel like all they've been thinking about ever since they lost the Super Bowl was how to win the next one.
Yeah. One thing I thought that was really funny, everyone knows Jason Kelce, one of the best centers, if not the best center in the NFL. The Eagles drafted a center a few years ago to back up Jason Kelce because we know he's going to retire soon.
Yeah.
We thought he was going to retire at the end of this season. He called the backup center and called him and said, "I'm sorry, but I'm coming back next season." He apologized to him because the guy thought he was going to have a chance to be the starter. That just shows how much of a team they are to me. To call somebody and apologize for that you're going to keep playing.
Yeah.
And the guy was like, "You owe me nothing. You want to help this team win, and I want to help this team win. That's all that matters." So it really just shows the brothership on the team from starters to backups, and it shows how much of a leader Jason Kelce is. Do you think that the Eagles are going to benefit with having Jason Kelce one more year, or do you think they should go to a younger guy now, since Jason Kelce is in his mid to late 30s now?
I think Jason Kelce is, like you said, just one of the best in the NFL, and I can 100% maybe seeing this as his last season.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like he would definitely do the team more better than bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the longest season, but if something were to happen and you think that the younger guy would give you a better chance, you can always make that switch in the middle of the season.
Exactly.
Need be.
Or try different things against teams.
I definitely think Jason Kelce is our best option moving into this season. But I hope that we give the backup a couple of reps in-game just so that he can get his footing in the NFL. He hasn't played an NFL game at all since we drafted him. And, you got to knock the rust off eventually if he's going to be your future starter.
Exactly.
So I'm just excited for the season to get underway. Only a couple more months. But only a month until preseason and then 2 months until the actual season starts. So I'm excited. I'm nervous because, like you said, all the Philly teams, after going to the championship, started out slow. The Union found a way to bounce back for a few games there. Just lost the most recent game, but one loss isn't going to hurt you too much if you find a way to win the next three. Now I'm going to jump into the MLB. And the Phillies found a way to beat the Dodgers in the series. That we won 2 out of 3 against them. Mm-hmm. Do you think that's really going to make a big momentum swing for the team? Or do you think it's just another day in the office and you got to just move forward regardless? I'm
seeing a really big momentum change from the Phillies. I think that they're really starting to, swing the bat and just, they're just doing so good right now. And I think it's really funny that they really start to kick things up in June, every single year. It's just kind of funny how that happens every year.
Yeah, shorter season.
Exactly. And, I can just see a big momentum push from them and maybe eventually get more wins than losses.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping so, obviously. As a Phillies fan, all I want to see is see us win. I don't like losing. I said that earlier. Jack and I went to a game recently. We had a lot of fun. We were just yelling, got on the Jumbotron. Trey Turner hit a game-tying home run. We talked about that. But, just going to the game and experiencing stuff like that is so exciting for fans. And it's even more exciting when we're winning. Mm-hmm. I've gone to games in the seasons that we were horrible, and it's kind of just boring to walk around the stadium. It's very quiet throughout the entire game. But over the past couple seasons, having a better chance of winning, it's so exciting being at the game. It's so loud, and it's just so much more enjoyable there.
And that game was so good, just solely because we went down 5-0, and then we ended up winning 6-5.
Yeah, and that's been one of the things that's really impressed me with the Phillies. Even though we haven't been playing great, we've found ways to win games in different ways. It's not like we always score 7 runs to win a game.
Mm-hmm.
We've won games 3-2. We've won games 7-0. We've come back. We've taken huge leads, and we've won in different ways, which gives me hope for the future because it shows that we can fall behind and come back. We can take a lead and hold it. We can win games only scoring a couple runs, or we can win games putting up a bunch of runs. So it gives me hope for the team that we don't have to only rely on scoring 12 runs a game because that's not something you can do on a night-to-night basis.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to talk about specifically for this episode?
Not really.
All right, yeah. So it's a little bit more of a quick episode.
Yeah.
Not a lot of news, but the news that we did have was pretty big, especially the Messi signing.
More focused really on soccer this one.
Yeah, I mean, which is weird. The season ended, and then we talk more about soccer than anything else. But
just solely because of the transfer market and just how, big it is.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Messi live and in person. Hopefully soon.
100%.
I think that he is one of the best players in the world, even at his age, with what he can do, and he gets to bring that talent to the United States. So I'm excited to see that. Even if he doesn't immediately make the league better, he's definitely going to make an impact on that team, which they need it. They definitely need it. So I think we're going to get ready to close this episode out. Is there any drafts you want to do? Anything you want to do before we close this episode? Wait. Go. I ended it with we're probably going to get ready to close out this episode. So I'm going to start with episode. Before we do, is there any drafts or anything you want to do?
How about we do an actor draft?
I like that. All right. Should we do rock, paper, scissors, see who goes first? I think there's a lot of good options out there, so.
Damn.
Yes. I think I'm like 3-0 against you on rock, paper, scissors.
Whatever.
All right. So, dude, see, there's so many good options that if I mess up on this first one, I could lose. But I think that there's one guy out there that everyone loves, and I think he's just one of the best of all time. I'm going to take Adam Sandler in my one. Dude, his movies just, every time I watch them, they just give me joy.
Alright. I think you missed out on a pretty big one here. The ladies love him. Give me, at number 1, Leonardo DiCaprio.
Not where I thought you were going to go. I thought you were going to go with my number 2, the one all the guys love, Ryan Reynolds.
Oh,
Ryan Reynolds.
I get that one. He's a great actor, but I can argue that he plays the Ryan Reynolds role.
Okay.
Which is hi, I'm Ryan Reynolds, and I make funny jokes. Like, he's the same character in every movie, and you know that.
Yeah, and my first guy is also the exact same character in every movie, Adam Sandler. I don't care if they're a one-dimensional player. When they're the best player at that role, it's fine by me.
Number 2, give me the best Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield.
I'm fine with you taking that, because I have this pairing now, pairing up with Ryan Reynolds. I'm going to take Mark Wahlberg.
Okay.
Not who I wanted to go to right away, but
It's kind of silly.
yeah, it's fine by me.
Give me his father counterpart. Give me Will Ferrell.
I was praying that you didn't take him. I wanted him. So you took the worst Spider-Man. Now
No.
I'll take the best.
Don't even say it. If you say who I think you're going to say.
I'm gonna take the best Spider-Man. Give me Tobey Maguire.
Okay, that's respectable. I was just hoping you didn't say Tom Holland.
No, here's the thing. I think that as a whole, Tom Holland plays the role of Peter Parker and Spider-Man the best. But I think as Spider-Man himself, as Peter Parker himself, that Tobey Maguire does the best job of being that kid from Brooklyn.
I can agree with that one.
So I wanted to take Tobey Maguire there.
At number 4, an overlooked pick, Tom Hanks.
Yeah, that's a really good pick. He's someone that does not fit the Tom Hanks role,
Exactly.
or as you want to call it, the Ryan Reynolds role. He plays so many different roles in every movie, but when he's on the field, who do you know? What do you know what you're gonna get? You don't. So
Yeah, because life's like a box of chocolate.
that was a good one. You never know what you're gonna get. So I'm in my 5 now, right? Or am I?
Yeah. You're in your 5.
Wow. This draft went very quick,
Uh-huh.
and I think it's just because of how many good options are out there.
Exactly.
We're gonna look back probably while editing this and be like, wow, why didn't we take this guy?
Exactly.
Because there's just so many guys out there. But I kind of wish I wouldn't have gone with Tobey Maguire. Now that I know I could have had this pairing, but I will take Robert Downey Jr.
Oh, that's a good one.
I think just throughout my childhood, he was always Iron Man, but he always had the character development, starting as just a super rich guy, kind of a dickhead, to then saving the world by sacrificing himself. The ultimate sacrifice he gave up for the rest of the world.
All right. Well, I have 2 in mind, but
You got to choose between them.
I don't want to go with one and regret about the other one. So I'm leaning towards a Marvel one, but at the same time I'm not.
Oh wow, I know one I could have picked.
I'm trying to think of one's name that I really want, but I can't.
Tell me the role he plays, and I might be able to give it to you.
Grant. Oh no, it's he's like really old, and I can't remember his name.
What's he in?
It's like Gran Torino or something like that.
Yeah, I'm not.
If I remember his name, but screw it. I'm just gonna go with a great actor, Bruce Willis.
That's a good pick. I respect that pick. I'm gonna have to find out who you were thinking of before.
I know. I'll figure it out.
And see if that really changes it. I think this.
I think
judging
I this one. This is probably our closest one yet, though.
I think there's always been a definite winner between the two. I think that
this is our closest.
I think this is definitely the closest one. I think it could go either way.
I think I took that one.
I don't know, dude. Mark Wahlberg, Adam Sandler, Ryan Reynolds.
I got a bunch of good ones though. I had Bruce Willis, Leonardo DiCaprio, Andrew Garfield.
I feel like
Tom Hanks.
I feel like Andrew Garfield, after the Amazing Spider-Man, he kind of fell off.
He's got such good movies though.
Yeah, he has a few good movies.
Have you ever seen Hacksaw Ridge?
Yeah, it's mid.
No, dude.
That's a pretty good movie.
Best war movie.
It's a pretty good movie, but I just feel like he's not as well known.
And guess what? If you say, "Oh, it's not," then I have someone who's in the other best war movie of all time, Saving Private Ryan, Tom Hanks.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. You have great picks, but I think that a guy like Andrew Garfield, he's like that sixth man that comes off the bench, where I have the superstars that are they're headlined guys. Like, one of my guys just got promoted to another league. What have your guys done recently? That's going to close out the episode.
So,
let us know who won.
Hell no.
Let us know who won. And that's everything. This was episode 5. Same faces, new places.
Yeah, it's so bad I wanna shoot like hoops.